the longer you stay in the business, the stronger you become as a business because you're growing, and then the more leverage you have to reach into the verticals, which again only increases the value of your company and grows. But you have to have fucking endurance.
Welcome back to the Spinoso podcast. I am your host, Amanda May, and here with my co-host, Dr. Alex Spinoso.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here on your show.
Thank you. I've missed this a little bit. It's
Yeah.
been a couple months since we recorded, so we're back. We've had an event-filled few months, and so I'm just taking over. It's my podcast now.
Okay.
All right.
It's all yours. Let's do it.
So today we're gonna take a little detour from the business and kind of talk about something else that has to do with soccer. So it's a little detour, kind of, but not really. We're gonna relate it back to business, like always. But we're gonna dive into your background as a high-level soccer player. From high school to college to semi-pro, you had a lot of experience in this, and the major life lessons that you were able to pull from your experience playing the game. So let's set the stage. Give everyone listening a little background on your career in soccer.
Yeah, so I grew up playing soccer. I'm an Italian-Puerto Rican family, so I grew up playing soccer since I was 3 years old, and I always loved the game. My parents loved the game. I remember every World Cup, there would be a big party that we would go to, and everybody would be watching it, and surrounded by friends and family alike, and it was just a passionate game in our house, and I grew up playing and, started playing competitively. In high school, I went to an all-guys high school, Jesuit high school. We were the national champions. When we all graduated, or the starting 11 graduated, we all went to Division I schools. We all had like full ride scholarships. There were very few of us, I think, that went to D2 schools, but ended up being the captains of those teams at D2 schools. I went to Dartmouth and played there for a while. And after about 3 years there, the coach and I just did not see eye to eye, and he was just a prick in the long run. I was like, "You know what?" It was funny because the coach that had recruited me actually left after a year there, so it was always an uphill battle. And so I went from when I graduated college at Dartmouth, I kinda stayed around for a bit and then wanted to go to England to play. And I found out that the medical school that I was going to or wanted to go to was actually had a first year and a half in England.
Mm.
So I went over and started my medical school career in Northumbria University, which is in northern England. It's on the border of Edinburgh, Scotland, in a town called that they're called the Geordies there actually. So like Geordie Shore, pretty much the Las Vegas of England is Newcastle, England. So I went there and the good thing about sports in England is that you can play on like you could be playing on a youth team as a kid and a pro team on the weekends because the
Mm.
cards you can go back and forth and it creates a lot of good player development. It's way different than the United States where you have to play college and you can't play pro, or if you play pro, you cannot play college. It's terrible in the US, but I started playing on a team there for Northumbria University that had, it had high schoolers and then college kids and then pro athletes coming down that had been injured and rehabbing and stuff like that. And I worked my way up, ended up playing semi-pro there for a while. And then after about 6 knee surgeries, I was like, "You know what? I don't know if I could do this for a long term." And I was getting C's in all my medical school classes because I was traveling to play soccer and not really going to any of my medical school classes. I was like, "Okay, I think I need to buckle down and choose a career that is, like, long lasting." So I fell back into being a doctor. It was, like, my second choice of careers, if you will. But being an athlete my entire life and playing multiple sports in college, I played rugby and soccer in college, is and I played rugby a little bit in high school as well, is, I think, really necessary to, figure out teamwork, leadership, how to do that, and you see that a lot where really high-end, high-level athletes can be really good leaders in business.
Yeah, you do see that. A lot of the like Shaq, he's the first one that comes to mind when I think of that, like, he's such an incredible business person. 50 Cent, Rick Ross.
Yeah,
Yeah,
all the
like
rappers here, white girls naming all the rappers. But no, you're right. Is all those guys. There is we're in Dallas, so Jerry Jones he played, and
Mhm.
Roger Staubach and Emmett Smith, all big business guys now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's because the mindset of an elite athlete is really about building that mental toughness, and that's what you need to have when you go into the business world and you become an entrepreneur. So, it's not soccer is just not a game, it's
Hmm.
really a mental construct and a mental battlefield.
Yeah.
How do you feel like, your mindset shifted as a player, and then, like, applying that to business and what you're doing now?
Yeah, as a player, you're a different person, and there's a lot of athletes that do that. If you're gonna step on the field with me, I'm going to try and get in your mind. I'm gonna try and fuck with you as much as possible and throw you off your game, and just all the shit talking and all of that. It's a consistent like battle. You just have to be relentless because anytime you let off the gas, anytime you take a second off, the other team is gonna have an edge on you. And soccer is a very, very team sport. It's not like sometimes basketball where you have a LeBron James that could just dominate, five other players on the other team. It's 11 players and it is a big fucking field. It's like football as well. You can have your people who are your players that are great, but you put one guy out there versus the other. I don't even know how many people are on a football field, Mason, at a time.
Wow. Aren't
Okay.
there 12
12
players?
players?
I don't know, I'm making that up.
Oh, this is
17, 40,
really
somewhere.
bad. This is really fucking bad. Okay, that just shows how
What if
much
I
I
made
know
that
outside
right?
of football.
That would be good, Nathan, see if
Whatever.
I'm right.
One versus on a team sport like that, it's like one versus everybody else. It's not bowling where it's just like or darts or golf, really, where it's one on one and you're only relying on yourself. You have to rely on other people around you, and if you're not going to move into the position you need to be, read the play, communicate with your team, then you're gonna be fucked because the other team is gonna run around you, they're gonna execute, and you're just gonna be lost. So you have to be on all the time. There are no off days. Like you can have a bad game, but your mindset has to bounce back right away. You cannot just wallow in it because in a tournament you're playing 3, 4 games a day. There's no fucking downtime that you have to wallow or worry about yourself or mend your injuries. It's just like you got to strap yourself up and get yourself back out there. So you there are a few times in my life where my dad would, and it's funny, there's a great video of the Tennessee baseball coach out there. If you haven't watched it, watch Tennessee baseball coach, cussing. It's fucking amazing. And it's just like, there are days where my dad's like, "Why the fuck am I here? Why am I here?" Not in a negative way, but it's if I fucked off in a game or did not play my absolute best, he knew it. Or gave my absolute best effort, he knew it. He's like, "What if you're gonna waste our fucking time being here this weekend, don't fucking play.
Mm.
Quit." Like, and again, in our house, there was no option to quit. So it's like, okay, I don't know what you want me to do. Like, which is just fucking play better.
Yeah.
Really. Just play better.
Yeah, because you can't quit.
You
That's
can't
not an
quit.
option.
It's not an option. You can't quit.
So, give me
And
that.
don't waste people's time. And that's the biggest thing in
Mm,
that you come to when you that can be taken into the business sense too, is that you guys, if you have to think of yourself as a pro athlete. When you're stepping into your position, you have to be the best at what you're doing. You have to work to be the best. A pro athlete can't just fuck off all week or after hours, eat whatever they want, drink whatever they want, play, practice like shit, and then on the weekend show up and expect that they're going to have a starting position that's still going to be there, a position that they're going to be able to succeed in, or have a Hall of Fame year. They just
mm,
fucking can't. There's no fucking way. So you have to think of it the same way when you show up for yourself and for your team and for your work, is that when you show up, you have to fucking think like a professional athlete. You are there to succeed. You're there to execute. You're there to fucking win. There's no other option that you have. There should be no other mentality where you're there to just like do a 9 to 5. And if you're just there to do a 9 to 5, don't fucking expect to get to the next level. So it's the same thing in my businesses and in Genesis. If you don't show up, you don't succeed, you don't push your team, you're not at the next level, you're not a captain for the team and growing, you can't expect to be put into the next position above you. You can't expect to grow in the company because in the end, I don't know whether or not you're going to be able to lead at the next level if you can't lead yourself at this level right now. So the same in your businesses. If you have somebody who's not leading themselves at this level, they should not expect and you should not elevate them to the next level. It just fucking shouldn't happen. Period. It's not worth it.
Yeah, and it's not about not failing, it's like fail fast, just like what your dad was saying, like, okay, you had an off day, you fail fast, you adjust, and then you keep going. And so in business, it's the same way. It's like you're not telling people that they can't fail. It's like, but fail fast, figure it out, adjust, and then keep going. So you're moving the direction of growth and continue to better the business and the people around you.
Yep,
Eh,
100%.
So one thing I've actually heard you say is fail. If you're going to fail, fail gloriously. You feel like that comes from your time in soccer?
Oh God, I hope not. Fucking no.
Where's that come from?
No, that comes from just I think, I don't know, growing up, my dad was always one of those guys. He's like, if you want to do something right, you got to do it yourself and you
Mm,
just fucking do it once. And I think as I grew up and went through medical school and like learned about things, because it wasn't in high school, it was really in later on in medical school when I started to teach others. And actually, it might have been a little bit through high school. So when I think about it, I went to a Jesuit high school, right? And we talked about this. Mason knows all about the Jesuits. And one of the lessons of the Jesuits is to kind of question everything, which is funny,
mm.
oddly enough, because it causes a lot of the Jesuits to uh, question the Jesuit religion. And then they leave. It's just kind of like, so I learned about that in high school. And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. You probably should have went the other way with like Scientology or Mormonism. They stay there forever. Like you're telling people to leave sort of thing. So that being said, I digress. I kind of started to learn from that, the Jesuit religion, that mindset and thinking is like to question everything. Why do we do this? How do we do this? What are the reasonings behind it? And it's the same in Genesis now. I don't like the phrase, because we've always done it this way, or when people say, why do we do this? I don't know. I like people to know why we do this, why things are happening. And even with my business vendors or business associates, if they do something and I'm like, well, why, what did you do that for? And then they have a reason for it. That's good. I'm like, okay, good. Thank you for the explanation. But you probably should have fucking told me that before. Sometimes we get into an argument or miscommunication with people and they're like, no, 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 this is what I meant. Well, fucking write what you meant or why you're doing those things.
Mm.
You just don't make shit up. And as I started to teach in other people in college and in med school, it was always about, if you're going to have a position on something, then have a position on it. I don't care what it is, but if you're going to have a position, don't be wish-washy, have fucking data to back it up and go in there. And if you're wrong, fail gloriously.
Mm.
You know, Jumping out of a plane, no parachute, strapped to a shark with bombs on your chest, fail gloriously.
At least you
And
did it
because at least you
intentionally.
did it intentionally and
Yeah.
you had all the data to back it up. There's an interview of somebody talking about Mark Zuckerberg, and they say that he loves arguments. He loves it, and he loves people to have opposing opinions. But when you bring up an opposing opinion to Mark, make sure you're ready to defend it because he's gonna go toe to toe with you. And if he's wrong or if you win, okay, cool, you win. It's a game to him. And it's the same with me. Like if
Mm.
you're gonna come up to me or Brent and you're gonna have an idea, make sure you're ready to defend that idea because we might be wrong. You might be right. You might have an idea of how to do X, Y, and Z, but be ready to defend it to the end. To the end. So, again, if you're going to fail, fail gloriously. If you're going to bring up ideas, have data to support it. Don't just say, "Hey, I think we should do this." Well, why should
Right.
we do that? Like, what have you seen or what have you tested or what have you figured out that we're not seeing or testing or figuring out that helps us and the people around you get better?
Mhm.
Don't just
Yeah.
suggest things to fucking suggest things.
Yeah, it's definitely, like, the same thing, soccer, elite athletes, and business, is you gotta go all in, and that's one thing about soccer, it's not like football or basketball where you stop every few minutes to reset. Like, soccer's such a fluid, like, constantly changing, fast-paced game. And I mean, just listening to you and having been on this journey with you with Genesis, watching how quickly you move and pivot when necessary, like, I feel like that's something that you probably pulled from soccer and being an athlete, is just how fast you're willing to move, and you just take action. And it's definitely a reflection of the soccer field.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely how business is. Like you consistently have to pivot, you consistently have to change. We have innovate essentially as our core values, where always something new. And again, you have to be like on the field, you have to give everything you have. You have to give 100%, not 110 because mathematically it's impossible, but 100% on the field. One every single time, every single play. Go all in. It's the same with business. If you think that you're gonna play 10 minutes of a 90-minute game and be able to beat the opponent,
Mm.
I'm sorry, you're fucking wrong. And it's the same in business. If you're gonna focus 15 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours out of your day to focus on business, and this is obviously when you're all in on business and you're not working out. So if you work a 9 to 5, you come home, hey, you should be, having dinner, do whatever you need to, and then be working from 7 to midnight on your business. That's still another 5 hours.
Mhm.
And it's the same in when you have a full business. If you're only working a few hours a day, if you're only working a few hours a week, don't expect to beat the guy who's working 12, 14 hours a day every fucking day because there's always somebody hungrier than you.
Mm.
Always somebody who's gonna outwork you, period.
Well, and it kinda reminds me of what we were talking about at the beginning of this conversation with, people that work within your business. That's also something that relates to this specific part of the conversation, which is people who just, like, think that they deserve the next level
Mm,
when they haven't gone all in on the position or the level that they're currently at.
yep. They should not and, if you've got people in your business and they come to you and they want a raise or they wanna get to the next level, it's like, "Okay, tell me what you've done to deserve that raise. Tell me what you've done that you feel you belong at the next level in a, management position somewhere or a higher level up corporate position. Show me what you've done that I should believe you. Because if you have to come and ask me and I'm not tapping you for it, then you haven't done what you need to, period. And in your own business, if let's say you're working for somebody else or you are, the second in command, if your boss is not elevating you or saying you're doing a great job or getting you to the next level, it's because you're not fucking doing a great job, guys. Let's just be 100% real about that. If you don't have more opportunities in your business, it's not because you're fucking killing it. I guarantee that because business owners are not dumb. They're not. And so if they're going to look at you and say, hey, that person is killing it. If you're doing everything, you're showing up before everybody, you're leaving after everybody, you're crushing it in sales, you're leading your team, everybody talks good about you. Guess what? You are going to make more money. Not just in your commissions or your pay structure or whatever, your leaders are going to recognize that and elevate you.
Yeah.
And then opposite of that, completely opposite of that, if you're not elevating your team, if you're at the bottom of the barrel, if you know you've had to be moved around in positions because you can't figure out where you need to belong. Like, have some reality conversation with yourself and say, "Hey, what the fuck am I doing wrong here?" And then ask, "What am I doing wrong?" Because you're definitely not at the top level. You're definitely not gonna get tapped for the next level, so don't expect to get to the next level at all if you're not executing at the level you're at.
Yeah, and that I mean, think about that on, like, the soccer field or any sport. It's like the best players, the ones that give their all, that show up, go above and beyond, they're playing. They're your starting lineup. They're gonna be the ones that are on the field getting the most time, where it's like, okay, if you're not, you could still be on the team. You might get moved around a little bit to figure out where you might fit, and at some point, if you don't excel, you're gonna get benched. You're still on the team, but it's kinda like, do we need you right now? Do we need you to win the game, or you're just kinda there to fill a spot or just in case? And it's like, I feel like if for our listeners, if you're getting benched, it is a good time to do some real self-reflection as to how you go all in and play a better game, because that's how you're gonna get more field time.
100%. You're absolutely, absolutely right. Any athlete knows that your twitch time or your reaction time is everything. If you're a professional race car driver and you just watch those guys drive, their reaction time is stupid. Hockey goalie or hockey player in general, I could never play that game. The little fucking puck flying around at 100 plus miles an hour, I could barely watch it fast enough. And those guys are pulling that shit out of the air and throwing it around and stuff. But any sport in general, you have to think fast. You have to make split decisions and you have to do it. You cannot have analysis paralysis on the field. If you have analysis paralysis, you're going to get run over. It just becomes instinctual as to how you have to move, how you have to react. You don't think, hey, I have to jump at this angle to head the ball in this direction. I think there's a really funny meme that came out. This is years ago with E-Bombs World. If people remember what E-Bombs World was, I'm not sure you're old enough for that, Mason. E-Bombs World. Check it out. It was good videos. It was Vine and YouTube and memes before they were Vine, YouTube, and memes. And this is when Lin was first in the NBA. And it was funny because he was the first like Asian superstar, right? In the NBA. And they would play clips of him and then it would pause and they would have like writing on the screen and it would be like, oh, the hypotenuse of the turning around in a fadeaway jumper. And then they would play the video and he would do a fadeaway jumper and it would go in. But it would be all these like math equations of him just like thinking in your head. But it's not like that. It's not a whole like math equation that you have to come up with. I have to jump at this angle in order to head the ball down. Exactly. It's instinctual.
Mm.
A split second too early and too late, you're not going to get there. You're not going to make that play. And it's the same in business. If you hesitate too long, you're not going to be able to make that play. And sometimes if you go too early, you're not going to make that play or you're going to fuck up. You know, life happens for you, not to you at the exact time that it's supposed to. And again, nobody's coming to save you in that process either. Nobody's coming to rescue you. Nobody's coming to help you figure out your business. Your coach isn't going to run onto the field. You have to figure it out yourself. Just like in leadership, it is on you to be the leader. And if you're not a leader, if you cannot perform on the field, you're just not going to be able to be a high level athlete, just like you're not going to be able to be a high level, business owner.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a question that we were asked, like, "Why now?" Pretty much in one of our meetings recently, and it's like, "Why now? Why now?" Because now feels like the right time. It's like it's that action, it's not overthinking it, but it's like, okay, this is trusting your gut, being adaptable, being decisive, like all of those things matter in taking action, just the same as when you're playing a high level sport. Um, I played soccer for a very short period of time.
Okay.
Don't think I ever told you that.
Yeah,
I
I
played
don't.
indoor soccer, and I actually really like it because I like running, but, I played, like, probably every sport. So, like, athletic-wise, I
Mhm.
love the game. I'm super competitive, which also helps in business
Mhm.
when you've got that, like, drive to win.
Yeah.
But yeah, after, like, going to 4th we got 4th place in state for my baseball team, my mom was like, "I'm not driving you all over anymore," so I
For 4th
had to
place?
quit sports. Yeah. So I didn't get to continue sports, but that's okay. Taking that mindset forward. And I think that those things really do make a big difference in who you become, like having your kids in sports. It's just there's so much, whether or not they're really good or not, there's so much to pull when it comes to being an entrepreneur and a leader. When you're hiring a team, how do you feel like, what is there something particular you're looking for in people that you go, "Okay, this person gets it," when it comes to, like, being a team member, working as a team, being able to grow in their own position?
Yeah, when you look at hiring, you want to hire self-starters as much as possible. People that have been the best at what they do or created new programs or things at their old job. Those are the people that you want to do because you know they're going to move forward no matter what. They're just going to continuously move forward. And a lot of times as well, you want to ask, like, what kind of hardships have you gone through in life? What are the things that you have been able to get through under pressure? Because that's also who you want. Being a manager is a lot of times a thankless job in general because your staff doesn't thank you a lot, and very rarely in businesses you're thanking your managers. A lot of CEOs aren't. We try as much as possible, but again, we got 80 managers, you can't thank every single one. You could, but it would take a lot of time. So you have to be able to have managers that are self-starters. They can pat themselves on the back and move forward. And at the same time, they have to make decisions. They have to be able to say, okay, this is the best decision for the business right now. Make that decision, own that decision, implement that decision. And then if they mess up, own up to it and saying, hey, yeah, this is on me. I had the accountability or whatever. And at the same time, you have to have somebody who's able to say, "Hey, I don't know what I need to do here." Ask for help. Once they've asked or once they've, decided on a plan, implementing it right away. They have
Mm.
to be able to do that. So when you're looking for people and when you're hiring people for your company, you wanna look for those types of people. You wanna look for those self-starters. You wanna look for people who you don't have to babysit. Because if you're babysitting them, there's no fucking benefit to that at all. They're just another person that you have to watch and you have to take care of.
Mm. Yeah, that definitely slows down the process, and, I feel like that's not that easy to find. Like, in all the people that can get hired for stuff, it's like to find that gem, it's like once you find somebody like that, really making sure they're happy so they stay with your team because I feel like it would be well, at least from my experience, I mean, I've been a part of even this process, watching how many people come through, and it's like, you don't know sometimes until they're in the midst of the job if they can or cannot make those decisions, take action, and continue with stamina. Like, the game of soccer isn't just about talent, it's about stamina and consistency, and then those 2 things really matter, and it's like, the game isn't one where you get all these long timeouts and breaks and you run for a minute and you stop. I mean, it's like 90 minutes of consistent playtime.
Yep.
There's not much downtime in that, no breaks, nothing like that, so it's like, how how do you feel like being a part of that has shaped your mentality when it comes to business?
Business is exactly like the game of soccer when it comes to endurance. It's a long game. It's gonna take a lot of time. It's not like, I would say even football. I went to a professional football game, and they have the commercial breaks and the timeouts, and there's time down between each play. There's a lot of rest in between the play, and it's, 4, different quarters, 15 minutes each, but total time you're playing is an hour. That's it.
Mm.
Soccer is 90 minutes, so it's an extra 30 minutes, and there's no timeouts. There's no pauses. It's just consistently moving. So you have to have a lot of endurance during soccer, and it's the same as business. Business is consistently moving. There is no off day. There's no time off. There is no, hey, I'm gonna, and maybe if you have a business that shuts down because you're a Christmas tree business, a Christmas tree light business, that you might shut down in the off season or do something else in the off season. But at the same time, you're still focusing and should still be focusing on, hey, next season, how are we going to get better? Next season, how are we going to grow? The advantage to that business is that you got months to plan. In businesses that are running all year round or open all year round or brick and mortars like I have, they are always open year round. There is no downtime. There is no off time. There's the holidays, and that's about it. And, holidays, there's 6 a year, holidays. That's it. You are open the days around the holidays because you have to be. You have
Mhm.
to drive that. So, and when it comes to growing a business, you have to know that this is a long-term play. The get rich quick, I'm gonna grow a business 12 months from now, and I'm gonna be able to sell it for $8 million when it's doing 250K a year does not exist. That's bullshit. Those are reserved for IT companies that have ridiculous valuations. If you have a brick and mortar, if you're a medical business, you do not have a ridiculous valuation. Most businesses do not have a ridiculous valuation, no matter what they're in at all. So you can't think that I'm gonna build this for 1, 2, 3 years and then be able to sell it for millions of dollars. And if you get that opportunity, you sure as hell better take it because it'll never happen again in your entire lifetime. That's like a once in a lifetime opportunity. But I've seen so many people that are super talented fail because over time they just burn out. They just
Mm.
don't, this is not a short game. This is not a long game for them. They're playing the short game. I'm gonna do as much as I can right now. I'm gonna make as much money as I can right now, and then I'm gonna get out. It doesn't work like that. Or people that say, hey, I'm gonna jump from this business to that business to this business every 2 to 3 years. And there's always these posts out there where if you want to raise, leave the business and go to the next business. Cool. That might work for like the next 3 jobs, but the really good businesses, they don't fucking hire job hoppers
Yeah.
at all. Like, I look at that and Brent looks at that and we're like, okay, this person has had 5 jobs in the last 2 years. Do not fucking hire them because they're going to have a 6th job within the next 6 months to 12 months. They're going to have another job. Well, you know it. You can see how their attitude is in life and business in general. And those people that have stayed with us the longest, they make the most amount of money. You can't, that nobody in our business can say that they don't make more money than what they did as long as they put in the fucking work, as long as they showed up every day and continued to grow. There are those people that, hey, they'll check out for a while and then come back and they make less money, sometimes year over year, but that's because they checked out.
Mhm.
If you do not check out, if you fucking lock in and continue to grow and grow over a long period of time every single day, even when you don't fucking feel like, I told you yesterday in the meetings yesterday, I was like, I fucking hate this today. I do not, today's one of those days I want to burn this shit to the fucking ground and leave. Like I fucking hate it. It was terrible for me yesterday to go
Mm.
through those meetings, but I still showed up and we still killed it. And Marco was there. He's like, you sound good. And I'm like, I fucking hate this. I do not want to be here today. This is terrible.
I mean, that's the power of teammates, right?
Yeah.
Because there was like we were all there together and, where one person's like not feeling it, the other 2 people can kind of step in and or the other people on the
Yeah.
team, however many there are, step in and kind of support, that person and moving forward and
Yeah, and
yeah.
that's another point that, look, solo players, if you're playing the game alone and you think that you're always gonna be able to play the game alone, you're going to fucking lose.
Mhm.
Amazon needs box packers, bro. Jeff Bezos owns, I think, less than 7% of Amazon. Huang owns less than 4 I think he owns 4% of Nvidia. Elon Musk owns like 9% of Tesla. I might be slightly off on the numbers, but they're all around that. I mean, who do you think owns the rest of it? Stockholders, other people in the business, etc. Like, you don't have to own 100% of the fucking business and have 0 partners and think that you're not gonna be wealthy. Again, those guys are all thought leaders, but it took them fucking 20 years of grinding to get to where they are now. They weren't overnight sensations at all. None of them were. They were just, sleeping on mattresses in their offices. And, you've seen Amazon's wood desk. And, Joel talks about like all the failed businesses that he had before. I think his name is Joel, right?
From
Right?
NVIDIA?
Yeah. Is it Joel? No, it might be. I might be off. Yeah, CEO of NVIDIA. What's his name? I always say Joel because I went to school. Uh, Jensen. Jensen. I always say Joel because I went to school with a Joel Huang, so it always like at Dartmouth. I still remember him to this day. He was one of my fraternity brothers. But Jensen Huang or
Okay,
Jensen.
while we're taking this short break to ask you questions, how many players are on a football field? I was
You were off by a
so
little.
close.
Yeah, extra man on the field. That's a
Yeah,
penalty.
yeah,
I knew that.
fancy.
There we go. Okay, that shows don't listen. This is not a sports podcast, guys. Do not listen to us talking about any of the football games. Um, but if you need to be a team player and you need to have stamina. You need to show up on the shitty days. You need to have discipline. You need to have consistency. Those are fucking non-negotiables in business. Non-negotiables. You cannot win if you do not have the discipline or the consistency to show up every fucking day, day after day after day after day after day after fucking day, no matter the weather, no matter the temperature outside, no matter what. If you do not show up every fucking day, you will lose in business because somebody else is going to. Those habits have to be driven into you. You have to push yourself, even when you're tired, even when you're drained, you got nothing else left to give. You have to dig deeper and you have to train yourself to think like that. You have to train yourself to go through that. And Brent and I talk all the time in business when things happen or there's a lawsuit that pops up or a client threatening us or a vendor's trying to fight or marketing isn't working. A lot of those things are kind of laughable now when they used to freak us out. They're like, oh my God, the sky is falling. Now it's just like, whatever. Because you end up like punching the bag so much when it comes to like a boxing metaphor that your knuckles get thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker. And over time, it's like the things don't affect you as much as they did at the beginning.
Do you feel like that's how people would build stamina in business? Like, if they're just getting started in business, someone's listening and they're like, "Okay, but I wanna know how I build my stamina."
Yeah.
Is that it? Just keep punching the bag, just
Continue to keep punching the bag. Continue to keep going forward. Continue to keep getting fucking kicked in the balls or punched in the titty, fucking over and over and over and over and over and over every single day. And after a while, you're gonna harden yourself up. You're gonna be able to deal with that stuff. And after a while, the amount of, I would say, failures that you have, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller because if I make this decision, okay, this is going to happen. I've done that before. I'm not going to make that decision. Or if I make this good decision, good things are going to happen. And because you've been in it over and over and over, but you cannot do that if you don't have endurance. The verticals that we've built into Genesis, now that we're building into Accesso Bio, those are verticals that would never come about and we would never know existed if we did not stay in the game long enough. If we did not build a business big enough to be able to say, hey, we should build our own pharmacy because that's a big cost of goods that we have in Genesis. And now we've learned enough where it took us 2 years to build that pharmacy. If you were in the business only a year or 2 years at the beginning, you wouldn't know how to build that. You wouldn't know how to do that. And there's a lot we had to fucking learn. There's a lot we had to pay for, millions of dollars out of our pockets to build that vertical. And it's the same in Accesso where we're looking to build or buy a manufacturing plant for what we do. Those verticals, they only come along when you've been in business for a long time and you're growing. Andy Frisella, my mentor with First Form, they had the best ingredients for their proteins and their stuff like that. And at the same time, they were having another company mix all their stuff at the beginning. Now they mix all their stuff. They make all their products. They create all their own clothing. things like that, that would have never happened had they not built big enough and had the endurance to stay in the game long enough to be able to bring those verticals internally.
Mm.
The longer you stay in the business, the stronger you become as a business because you're growing, and then the more leverage you have to reach into the verticals, which again only increases the value of your company and grows. But you have to have fucking endurance. It's the same when it comes to building yourself up into a uh, regional director or a CEO, COO or a CEO, even. You have to be doing it for a very long time at a very high level, and you have to prove it. That's why CEOs from one company get paid billions of dollars to jump to another company because they've proven themselves as a fucking killer CEO. So that's why they get paid the big fucking bucks to jump from one business to another business to another business because they've done it over and over and over and been successful at it over and over and over.
Mm.
That's just how it is. Your pedigree is what you're going to be paid.
Yeah. That it kinda just makes me think about, kind of the teamwork aspect, and going back to your statement about just, like, not feeling it yesterday in our meetings and, the value of not being a solo player in this game, and that's something so valuable that, like, as far as a lesson that's really big that's learned in sports is how to be a team player, and so, um, I guess that, my thought is there are other sports where you have a team, but I feel like soccer is like the ultimate team sport. And what you're building with Genesis has been the ultimate team sport. You this company has grown from 18, 19 locations to now 79. Like our core value going forward this year is teamwork. So, it's like pulling all of that into this conversation about sports. It's like, how do you feel like teamwork is going to play out this year and where you're going and where we're going as a company? And you have multiple companies that you just talked about. So, you have teams in all of these arenas and verticals that you mentioned. So, like, how do you feel like the teamwork is gonna be a part of this year, given that it's a core value that you're focused on?
Yeah, we just had our, Q1 corporate event in Miami, and we got everybody into the room, and, again, we have a core value that usually is the theme of the year. Last year was growth. We went from, 20 locations to 79, so we did okay in that that core value. This year, it's innovation and it's teamwork because those 2 combined, what we're building in Genesis, what we've built in Genesis, there is nobody like us at all. So what we're building is completely new. It is nothing that's been built before. We have competitors that are in maybe one of the services that we do or maybe one of the modalities that we do, but we have 0 companies that are competition at our size in every single modality that we have, both brick and mortars and telehealth. 0. There's 0 competition. So what we're creating is completely new. What we're creating is completely innovative. It has never been done before. So I have to tell my staff, and they have to be reminded that we're gonna fuck up a lot because we are literally building something that has not existed at all. So we're paving the way at our size, at our level, to do this, and at the same time, that means everybody in the boat has to be rowing in the same direction. This is the direction we wanna go in. Let's all row in the same direction. Otherwise, I do not need you in the fucking boat. Get the fuck out. Because when you're innovating, when you're doing something new that has never been done before, everybody has to be all in. You can't have people with 1 foot out the door. If you have somebody with 1 foot out the door, it just does not benefit in any way to keep that person. Let them go.
Mm.
Go somewhere else. That's fine. They don't it doesn't mean they're a bad person. They're just not right for the position that you have them in, or they're not right for your company. Teamwork is so important because you have to have people that trust each other, they communicate, they push each other to be better. And when you're a leader, you have to empower your team to step up. And there's always the football movie, The Longest Yard is a great football movie, or any of those football movies where, it's the captain of the team that did something bad and the team doesn't trust him. And then he's like, fine, I'll do it myself. And he does it like for 2 or 3 plays. And then the team's like, oh, okay, he's doing it himself. That's inspirational. I'm going to now we're inspired to win the game. Like every movie is like that. And they're all awesome. I'm not going to lie. It's fucking awesome. It gets you riled up. But at the same time, you got to do the same for your team. Like, again, you will be, who watches The Watchmen? There's no, at the leadership level, nobody that's bringing you up. You have to bring yourself up, and then at the same time, you have to bring everyone else with you. You have to tell people there's no fucking choice. Like, I will drag you across the finish line if I need to, myself. I'll come back and get you if I need to, myself. And this is the way their train is going. Get on the train or get the fuck off, because I don't need you. I don't need you pulling anybody else down. As a CEO, it's funny, I was talking with my wife last night about this. As a CEO, we deal with all the bullshit in the business, which is fine. That's our job. That's what we signed up for. Fixing all the problems. It is the shittiest fucking job
Mhm.
in the company. People think, it's cool to sit at home and do nothing all day long. We sit at home and do Brent and I talk for 6, 7, 8 hours a day just about the business and how we're fixing this and how we're fixing that, and have all the meetings of problems that people come up with us. And you've been in it. You're a grief counselor, you're a life coach, you're a business counselor, you're doing everything. And all the problems, all the shit, all the crappiness comes to you. It's just a funnel. CEO is like a crappy funnel. Like all the shit in the business goes to you. You have to solve it all. So that's why a lot of CEOs, as you grow, and guys, if you're a CEO, as you grow, remove everything fucking negative from your life. If that's fucking people, if that's fucking social media, if that's like, I don't know, certain text messages from people, remove fucking everything negative, because you'll already have so much negative shit every single day just from work that you won't want to deal with anything else, because you need to focus on just this negativity, which is, again, problems in your business that you're solving. So negativity is strong, but it is negative. It's like, fuck, okay, something else I got to fix. That's okay. But if it's something else I got to fix, and then like somebody's bitching about their life to you, and then somebody's complaining about their income at their other job, and somebody's bitching about the president or whatever, it's like, I don't want to fucking listen to any of that. I don't. I have enough fucking crap to deal with
Mhm.
to listen to your shit as well. I just don't. And so as a business owner, you guys have to shut out the noise. And if people are going to come at you with that, get the fuck out. Get the fuck out, because you're going to have enough problems as a business leader.
When you have to make enough decisions too, it's like, it's why Steve Jobs wore the same outfit,
Mhm.
every day. It's like you only have so much capacity to make so many decisions. So, you know,
I only have fucking Genesis shirts
why,
and Spinoso logo shirts. That's it.
yeah, and hats
Yeah, and hats.
in case you don't even want to do your hair.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Like I got 25 shirts. They're all the fucking same.
Well, and that's that's the point of it, is like why all the things that people could be bringing your way that drain your attention particles versus and that takes you away from the decisions and the attention that needs to go on really fixing things in your own business and being protective of that.
100%.
And
Absolutely.
that to me, that's not being like, I think the solo player is kind of always losing,
Mhm.
or I don't know if it's losing, they're just not gonna get as far.
They won't.
Go far, go together.
100%.
I hear you say that, and so I stole that from you, thank you. Um, but it's like in this case, this is part of teamwork. Like protecting your energy and your time and your space is a part of then having the time, energy, and space to give to your team so that you can do what they need. And you're not letting, social media negativity or political negativity like in your environment so that you have what you need to have for the team and the people that are a part of what you're building.
Yeah, and
Because you as a leader, you owe it to them
yeah,
to give your best.
you're absolutely right. You owe it to give your best, and then you also owe it to yourself to realize that you can't do everything yourself. You have to depend on people. If you wanna go far, go together, you're absolutely right. You have to have people that are able to step up and do it. And you've done a phenomenal job in Genesis, and, Brent and I talk about it, and I talk about it with Steph, is that, like, if you guys wanna be an executive in a company, be the person that, like, never says fucking no and just figures it the fuck out.
Mhm.
Like, Amanda is on this podcast, not just because I brought her on the podcast, I asked her to be on the podcast because we need a female voice and I'm an asshole, but she's on this podcast and is an executive in Genesis is because she just fucking showed up. Brent and I have asked her to do something, and there's never a complaint. There's never a response. There's never a, well, I don't know, or like an argument about it. She just fucking does it. She just fucking executes. And as a result of that, we moved her up and up and up and up, and your payroll is about to double over the next few months because of that fact. Because if I ask you, guys, you wanna make a fucking shitload of money, make the CEO's life fucking easy. Make it easy. Because if you make the CEO's life easy, if the CEO asks you to do something and you fucking do it and you succeed at it and you don't argue and you just fucking know, the CEO knows if they ask you to do something, it's going to be done and executed in time at a very high level. Guess what? You're gonna make a lot of fucking money. Because the CEO, the COO, or people above you are going to recognize that. Make people's lives fucking easy. Amanda is here. She's an executive in Genesis. She's built it. She's now the CEO of our skincare company, building her own skincare, leading these companies. She's, CEO of beauty, what it was it
Public beauty.
Public Beauty, you know, because she just fucking shows up and does her job and doesn't bitch. Like, we could all bitch about our lives. Bitch at home. Nobody fucking wants to hear that shit. I've never heard her complain about anything. And guess what? That's why she makes fucking good money. That's why she's an executive. You want to complain? Fucking complain to somebody else. You want to make a lot of money? Just fucking show up every day, every single day. Great leaders know when to pass the ball, and I know when I give Amanda a job or Brent gives Amanda a job, it's going to be fucking done. I don't have to micromanage her. I had to ask her about our skincare, like, what was the price we had to pay, like, 17 times, and she told me 17 times because I got a million things on my mind, but I know it's gonna be done. I know it's gonna be right, and I don't have to fucking micromanage you at all. So it's the same if you're an employee in your business, guys, make the people's jobs above you fucking easier and you'll make more money, period.
Mm. Yeah.
So kudos to you on that.
Thanks. Thanks. I mean, that's awesome. I appreciate all of that shout out. And to piggyback off that, it's a matter of wanting to be of value in anything I do and knowing that if I say I'm going to do something, I want to do it. So, what do I have is my word, and there are times where things might have been done different, like our 7 a.m. breakfast maybe was slightly early.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah. For a corporate event, Amanda organized a 7 a.m. breakfast. Brent was like, oh, God, she's fired. She's fired.
But, little things like that. But
It
I
worked
think
out. It was delicious food, though. It was amazing.
oh, the
Amazing
food was
spread. Well done.
food was really, really good. And we definitely had an abundance of food the
Yeah.
whole weekend.
Yeah.
But I also think, just if you are somebody who wants to create real value, why I say yes, or I'll figure it out and then figure it out is I take those things as lessons. Like, okay, I will, once I figure it out, now know how to do that. And so if it's not something I know how to do, and even if it makes me a little uncomfortable, or, when you don't know something, there's sometimes confusion in your space. It's like, okay, let me lock in. Let me do what I need to do to learn what I need to learn so that I can accomplish this well. It's now a skill that I have going forward. And so, yeah, why would I want to say no to growing in that capacity? So, anyway, That's why I always say yes.
There you go.
Yeah. And obviously believe in the mission. So saying yes in a company that you believe in and that you want to be a part of and you want to grow in and, be a leader in, that's, where you give your time. If you don't see the vision of the company that you're working in, maybe you're not with the right company.
Yep.
But then when you get with the right company, commit, go all in, like we were talking about with being an athlete and soccer player, give your all, don't take breaks. Yeah, there are days I am exhausted. I have a one-year-old. So there at the beginning when she was like not sleeping at all and, I'm doing the nursing and all the things, it's like I'm exhausted sometimes, but I never let that be an opportunity to be like, I can't do something because I just fucking made it happen. All right. So recapping a little bit, relentlessness and resilience is something that we have definitely touched on in many capacities through this conversation. And that if you are going to do something and you fail, keep moving forward, fail fast, move forward, keep going. Being adaptable and being a decision maker is a key to playing the game and playing the game well and making sure that you are flexible enough to adjust on the fly, which is definitely necessary in sports and, teamwork. Endurance, consistency, those are all aspects of a great leader and a great teammate. So just being willing to like go in, all in on the battlefield until you hit victory, which is interesting because like when you win, then there's the next level. So do you ever really get there? I don't know, maybe in life there's never really an end winning, but not like that would be different in the sports arena, you win the game.
Yep.
But then where do you go from there? You win the next game, you win the championship, you win, whatever level you're working at. And then teamwork and leadership, and it's, really about not trying to do everything yourself. And if you do, you're not gonna go as far, you know, at best, you're not gonna go as far, and in a lot of those cases, you just end up losing out on even the juiciness of life. Because I think relationships and working together creates a real, robust environment around you where, you learn a lot, like what Mark Zuckerberg, what you were saying, where he likes kind of that challenge because you learn, you grow that way, so being around people. I actually heard that the best way to learn about yourself is to get married
Mm.
because you learn so much. Like if you're single, you don't have anyone to point out your bullshit,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
So
absolutely.
not going at everything alone. So that's kind of the recap of our conversation. If you didn't catch the first part and you picked this up at some point through the conversation, that was all the aspects that we talked about today.
That's important, guys. The juiciness of life. I'm using that from now on.
Squeeze the juice out.
You're like the juiciness of life. Okay, I'm gonna use that phrase from now on. Um, Guys, in closing, if you don't remember anything else, remember this: it's not the most talented person who is going to win in business. Maybe on the field, you're gonna have somebody who's ridiculously talented and they're just gonna crush everybody. If you got a person who is just built for it, if you got a lineman who is, you know, 6'6", 375 pounds of just pure muscle, like they're gonna fucking roll you over on the football field. The difference between that and sports and business is that it's a fucking level playing field on business. You might have a silver spoon and those people might have a hand up on you, but they're never gonna be as hungry as you. In business, it is a level fucking playing field to start with. Because at the beginning, nobody knows how to run a business. You can't be born or built for business, period. You can't. So it's not going to be the most talented person. It's going to be the person who just fucking shows up every single day, makes moves, fails, pushes forward, no matter what comes your way. You can't control anything else other than how hard you play in business, how hard you go, how much you study. So you cannot wait for the game to come to you. Get in there, make things fucking happen, push forward, fail over and over and over and over and over and over a fucking again, a million fucking times because you're going to. It never, ever goes away. Failure never goes away. It's going to continue no matter what you're doing. Just keep pushing because those people who stay in it the longest, those are the people who win. Those are the people who are going to outlast their competition when they fall off. Most businesses, they fail. 90% of businesses fail. 95% of people shouldn't even be fucking entrepreneurs. So take a really good long look at yourself and where you are and think, am I built for this? Do I have the endurance? Do I have the strength? And I know you guys can. I know you guys can do it. But realize it's going to be fucking horrible. It's not all sunshine and rainbows and gumdrops and, beautiful lemon flavored assholes. It's fucking horrible. It's fucking terrible. Let me tell you how bad it is. So get in there, make things fucking happen, push forward, turn that lemon flavored asshole into beautiful lemonade and just squeeze the juice out of life.
I was just gonna say.
You like that?
Perfect.
There you go.
Perfect. Oh, thanks for listening to my podcast, this Spinoza podcast today, with my wonderful co-host. But no, if you are serious about building and winning in business and surrounding yourself with leaders and thought leaders and champions, and elite athletes in the business realm, then definitely check out joining Charismatics Mastermind, which is you can go to joincharismatics.com to do that. And if you like this episode, share it with a friend, leave a comment, let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what we can talk about next time that maybe you would enjoy. Thank you for listening. See you next time.
Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Welcome.
See ya.